Hello and welcome to another episode of the Brothers Discuss. I am Alex.
And I'm Chris.
All right, Chris. So the industry is sort of booming and evolving, and there's lots of news and trailers to talk about. So I figured we should just get into the nitty gritty, as it were. So, people in the future, if you listen to our show episode by episode, I suppose the update on the Warner Brothers sale situation is that Paramount is definitely going ahead with the purchase, but also that David Zaslav is not getting the massive payout that he was expecting. So that's kind of a funny step that this is now taken, because so much of this was going to be that David Zaslav was going to wind up even more wealthy person after this, but perhaps that's not the case. Any thoughts on Paramount at this point?
Nothing that's already been said.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, when you look at 2025 for Warner Brothers, it was a much more diverse grouping of films that they released. I mean, something like Minecraft could be released in the same year as Weapons or Sinners or One Battle After Another, and they had a very interesting year. Like, and they will continue to have an interesting year this year because big films like Dune or potentially Supergirl, and also they had The Bride. So it's like an interesting year. I would much rather the studio release stuff like that, but I guess the promise, and I think it was sort of announced this way at CinemaCon by Paramount, was that they were going to release 30 movies each year. And the way that certain studios brag about things at CinemaCon, and it's interesting because CinemaCon is a corporate event where they are bragging to the cinema owners and cinema executives to try and get them excited. So that's just a fascinating point. Have you kept up with CinemaCon in general?
Only like some of the bigger things, but not too much.
Well, what I've noticed with this year in particular, I wasn't there for the record, but I have noticed that CinemaCon has started to become a little more like it's being treated like a Comic Con event, so to speak, for like movie like nerds, moviegoers, that those sorts of people. But like reading the news, like it was just interesting seeing that. Like for example, the reaction to the Doomsday trailer was like so overwhelmingly positive, and different people that cover movie news that I follow on social media was sort of saying that it's clear that there was a lot more of a geek reaction to stuff like that than there has been in previous years. Like it sounds like there's a lot more people that are attending CinemaCon that I suppose have some sort of presence online. Like when you have different like YouTubers or people that cover geek related stuff online that can attend and be excited to see new like He-Man footage or something like that. Like as films maybe become a lot more of a geeky thing, if they become a little bit more of a niche thing, maybe that's what CinemaCon becomes as well. Like it's kind of a hybrid of something for corporate people looking to like make money with like popcorn buckets as well as like film dorks. Like maybe that's what it becomes, but I mean, obviously, CinemaCon has geeky stuff like that, where the corporate side of things come in. Like, you can go in there and you can look at chairs or projectors or walkie-talkies that security would use. Like, there's all these sorts of things. But then there's the presentations, which are the really fun thing for people like us, where they show you trailers. And I heard good things about the werewolf trailer, like films like that. So those are
Yeah.
first looks, and those are exciting. But then you have people that are really excited to see new Doomsday footage or new Sonic footage. So it's becoming that event like Comic Con used to be, where people would be begging for someone to film the trailer for a movie and then leak it online. So, but apparently security was very strict during the Disney presentation, and
Yeah.
I think all that's leaked. Like I did hear that several people were warned several times about filming the Doomsday trailer because Disney do allow you to take photos and film during the presentation itself, just not while they're showing footage. Like all that's leaked, like the only thing that's leaked, I think, is the logo, and then 18th of December is Doomsday. I guess the very end of the trailer leaked, which was just text. But yeah, no footage. Though it's been described as Thor talking to Steve Rogers, and I think Mystique turns into Yelena, and Shang-Chi fights Gambit. Like, I think that's most of the footage, so not a lot there.
Yeah.
And again, I think as films become a little more niche, and I go to the movies all the time, and it still gets packed at times. But of course, that's not the way every session is for every film. So if you look at people still like going to the movies, it's becoming less of a popular thing to do weekly, like people may have done in the past. Then the audience becomes smaller, and maybe you can afford to make it more of a Comic-Con style experience. Like, I don't know. For example, the Clayface trailer that they showed at CinemaCon, I believe is the same trailer that they've now released. So it's not like there's a ton of like special experience in terms of films that you get that for that type of audience, but do you get a lot of film people going because they need to see a new look at Werewolf, you know? So I don't know if that audience is strong. Like I know Neon had their session this year, which made me go, like, good. Neon and A24 should both be doing that, I think. Like, though A24 are being a little more successful at the moment with like Marty Supreme and the drama and some of these films that have made the money, but Neon, like, that's a good example with some of the films they've released in more recent time and having, generally speaking, very good marketing for a lot of these films. Like they should do a panel there. So as it expands with introducing new studios coming in, at the same time, you have like the Disney presentation where they showed off all the films that they own that they have made $1 billion, but they included like Titanic, which was obviously made before they owned 20th Century Fox. It's like you can't claim ownership for that, but I guess they do. Like,
yeah.
They're allowed to just because they own it. So, like, isn't that weird?
Yeah.
So I think they also included Spider-Man Far From Home and No Way Home as well. I could be wrong. I could be misremembering that graphic that they released. But I wouldn't be surprised either.
Right.
But I guess to wrap the CinemaCon talk up, it's meant to be an event to get the corporate world, at least corporate cinema world, excited. But I guess we'll see what happens to CinemaCon in the future. If nothing happens and it's not that big of a deal, we'll look like fools. But I don't mind. Wouldn't be the first time. But let's talk about the Clayface trailer. What'd you think of the trailer, Chris?
I thought it was pretty solid. It's obviously it's so jarring just to see like all the different directions this universe is already going in, like just right off the bat. Like, this is our introduction to the Batman side of the new DC universe, and it's the Substance-esque Clayface body horror movie. Like, and it's neat. It's like, trailer's solid. It's short, which is great. I haven't watched too many trailers like over the past few months for many things, but like this one like caught my attention just because it's like, you know, it does what it needs to do. It just teases an interesting premise. So yeah.
I think it was a very cool teaser. Like, I like the idea of using Clayface as a horror film, like a lead character. Like, I just think that's an interesting film to make, and I like Mike Flanagan a lot, and he wrote the script, though he wasn't able to direct the film. I'm just very interested in the film, and I thought the visuals were interesting, and I'm excited to see it. Like, it is weird when you look at it in terms of like a universe unraveling that includes Batman and all these bigger characters. It's funny that the Batman side of things is, like you said, it's technically starting with Clayface, but I'm just very interested in it. I thought it looked good, and like there's a great shot in the trailer at the very end where you have him lying in a bathtub, and then he covers his face, and his face just becomes like it's like nothing is there. But then when you actually you look a little closer, you realize that he is also the bathtub, and there's things like that I'm like, oh, interesting. Like, just like a totally different type of tone for what we normally get from comic book adaptations. Like, recently I was talking to someone about like recent superhero films that made the most money, and I put Joker in there, and they were like, well, Joker is not really a superhero movie. And it's like, that's true. It's like a drama about a guy that's done like a Scorsese film. I wouldn't call it a superhero film, but I would call it an adaptation of a comic book character. So it falls into that, even though it's not the same type of movie as like an Avengers movie or an X-Men movie or something. But with Clayface, I feel that way as well. Like, if we're going to get like a body horror film that it happens to be about a Batman character, I'm not expecting Batman to show up at the end of this film and just beat the shit out of Clayface. I don't think this is that type of movie. But I like that the DC universe can be expanded in this way, which opens up the world. You know, make whatever the hell they want to make, which has been one of the things that about DC. Like, again, speaking of Joker, like they released that and Shazam in the same year, and I was like, great, like you can do this. So hopefully they still do stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Any other final thoughts on Clayface?
No, I don't think so.
All right, well, we can get into some movies now. I'll start with this one. I saw Michael. Yeah, so to talk about a popular film that I saw, get ready, everybody. So Michael, the Michael Jackson biopic film. Look, I have an appreciation for the music of Michael Jackson. Like, there's a point in this film, because I'll say this quickly. The film should be about the creation of Thriller. Like, I think that way you can erase what a lot of people are asking about, which is, why don't they address the allegations against Michael Jackson, which is arguably one of the most notable things of his life now. And when you have Nia Long and Coleman Domingo having to give these embarrassing answers about why they don't address that, which just then sounds very ignorant, but of course is what he has to answer. It's just very embarrassing. But there's a sequence of the film where he's sort of putting together Beat It. And I think Beat It is an excellent song. And I was starting to realize, like, oh, I'm getting a little invested in the film. Like, this is interesting. He's bringing together these two sort of rival groups, and he's coming up with the choreography. And you see, like, oh, this is being put together really well. It's a very iconic music video, all that stuff. And then there comes a bit where he's choosing what the title of the album will be. And he tests Human Nature. That's one of the songs on the album, because that sounds like it could be an album title. He takes that off. He tests Billie Jean. He takes it away. But then we see that he starts watching Thriller movies, and then he eventually settles on Thriller as we get the famous Vincent Price laugh in the background, and I was like, oh, okay. This is a movie made for idiots. Like, they had to show us that he chose Thriller because he enjoys watching thriller films. But then they show, like, a little bit of the making of the Thriller music video, which of course is an iconic music video, and you start listening to Thriller and you're like, oh man, this is a good song. And Jafar Jackson, very good dancer. We see all the dance put together and it's like, yeah, this is fun. Then he performs Billie Jean on stage, which that's where he debuts the moonwalk. And I knew the story from back in that time where after he does the moonwalk, he does like a turn and lands on his toes. Like, I'd heard Michael Jackson tell the story that he wanted to stay on his toes a little bit longer and he didn't. So after his performance, people come backstage and he says, like, I wasn't on my toes long enough. And I was like, oh, I know that story from Michael Jackson's life. Like, the unfortunate thing is that all around this movie, it's an absolutely embarrassing story that is telling you Michael Jackson was a good soul. And it's very clearly produced by the Jackson family, who have so much of a say in what they're telling here. You know, like that he had an abusive father that Coleman Domingo plays. And I don't doubt that there's truth in all of that, and that surely would affect a person. But we see him staying in a kid's toy store to sign stuff for kids, like him visiting kids in hospital, and you know, he wants to donate a bunch of money to burn victims after the incident where he got burned at the Pepsi commercial filming. Like, how he loves adopting animals and being friends and family with these animals, and continuously being inspired to open the Neverland Ranch. It paints all of this stuff in a way that's like, he had a different childhood to everyone else. He's so sweet. But the reality of the story of Michael Jackson is that whether or not he did the things that he was accused of doing, like, let's say for argument's sake, he did not, you know, sexually abuse any children. It's still a weird thing that he would sleep in beds with kids and have kids at his place all the time. Like, that is just inherently a weird thing, but it paints those future events in a way that say, like, he's just a little misunderstood because he doesn't have a life like you or I. And it's like, I started internally rolling my eyes when they would do scenes like this, where it's like, okay, I get it. You know, this is the story they're trying to tell about this man. You know, like, any drug addiction that he had late in his life and the surgeries that he had on his face, you know, he gets a nose job. But we see his dad saying that he has a big nose before that. And again, it paints all of these odd things about Michael Jackson's life and gives them an origin as to why it happened that way. And not that he's just a really big weirdo, you know? So that's my take on the film. I thought Jafar Jackson, again, tremendous dancer. I don't believe he's singing anything in the credits when it listed all the songs that they had performed by Michael Jackson. So I don't think he recreates any of the vocals. And acting wise, he's okay. Like, he does do the Michael Jackson voice throughout the whole film, which I believe is not 100% his real voice. And it kind of skips over a really big part of his life. Like, if you're going to start the story of his life as a kid, like, they skip over him being in The Wiz. Like, they skip over the fact that he had 4 studio albums before he left Motown. It kind of starts with Off the Wall being his first album, which is not entirely true. And I believe there are reasons for that. Like, I know, like, for instance, Janet Jackson, I think, asked not to be in the film. So take from that what you will. It's a very kind of awkwardly put together propaganda piece by Michael Jackson's family. So it's not for me, and they're definitely making a sequel. And I don't know what you tell the story of in the sequel without addressing the pedophilia allegations or him holding his baby off the balcony. Like, I don't know how you skip over all that stuff, because those are big things that Michael Jackson is remembered for now. But at the same time, he's this icon that people still love. And like, when he died, like, there was a big memorial for him at the Staples Center, and Barack Obama sent a message to his family. Like, he was seen as this icon that we had to mourn. So it's a very awkward life to tell the story of, because while he was accused of doing all these terrible things, he was still loved by people. So a weird topic to make a movie about, but it's the family making the movie, so that tells you what you need to know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'll say this. This was a surprise to me. So there's a scene where a representative or the head of a record label that Michael Jackson was signed with is played by Mike Myers. And he also does this role in Bohemian Rhapsody. But they're different people. Like, he's not playing the same guy. Like, though both films were edited by John Ottman, so that Oscar could be coming again. So,
oh, God.
So Mike Myers plays this guy, and he says to Michael, like, what do you think of the record sales of Thriller? And he's like, well, we're happy with the sales, but in order to get more, like, we need to get my music videos on MTV. Like, that scene happens, and then while he's waiting for an answer, Mike Myers kind of starts doing some comedy. Like, I don't want to call it improv, but it felt like Mike Myers started adding in jokes to try and make the audience laugh, and it just felt totally flat to my audience. So you, listener, may have watched this and had an audience that laughed at that bit, but mine did not. And it ended, I was kind of like, what the hell was that scene? Like, it felt like it was from a different movie. But yes, the film does indeed end with it saying that his story continues. And I know there was talk a while ago that the movie was going to be put into 2 different films. Like, this film, essentially, spoilers, I suppose, this film ends with him performing Bad, and that was the album after Thriller. So we did not get to see the Bad music video being directed by Martin Scorsese in the film. I just thought of this. Could the sequel be called Jackson?
That's what I'm assuming it's going to be.
Because, I mean, like Michael, the logo of the film is, like, it's signed like the way his name appears on the Thriller music video, which, again, lends itself to, like, they should have just made this about the making of Thriller. But if they call the next one Jackson, honestly, I think that would be kind of amazing. And I do mean that genuinely and positively, so just go for it. Well, I guess another criticism that I'll say for the film here is that I want to say at least, like, the last 30 minutes or so of the movie is almost exclusively Michael Jackson performing at a stadium. And there's so much of that. Like, when you tell the story of Michael Jackson, I understand the want to include entire songs because they're great songs, but we get, like, full performances of some of these songs. Like, I don't need to hear all of Human Nature, right? Like, but we got it. So, yeah, that's just an awkward aspect of the film where there's just so much performance, and it feels like so little of his personal life. And again, he made a movie, and we just don't hear anything about the making of The Wiz. So yeah, I don't recommend Michael. Don't see it. You probably already did though. So what are you gonna do? I guess. All right, let's talk about a film we both saw. Chris, what'd you think of the drama?
I thought the drama was solid. I really didn't know anything about this going in, other than just the star power of Robert Pattinson and Zendaya, and they're both great in it. And the premise really caught me off guard, especially like as the film unravels. But like it is like just my kind of situational dark humor and just really fun stuff going on. It's such a solid. It's really solid. It's really great.
Yeah, I kind of love the film. Like, it's interesting to look at how the film is marketed, and we will give a spoiler warning before we talk about anything specifically. But when the first teaser came out for this was not advertised as I've seen people accuse it of being advertised online as a rom-com. Like comparing it to something like Materialist that came out last year, which had Material Girl as the song in the background, and it's a film about Dakota Johnson choosing between Chris Evans or Pedro Pascal. Like, this did not have that feeling because the teaser trailer was just so awkward, and we weren't totally sure what it was about, which was what made it interesting to me. And then the second trailer comes out, and you can see that there's a secret that Zendaya's character has revealed that makes things very awkward amongst her and her partner, Robert Pattinson, and their friends. And the secret is revealed early in the film, and it's not a twist like people have accused it of being. It is literally the plot of the film comes from this.
Right.
And
right.
Like, people have spoken about it as a twist in a similar way that they might talk about like The Sixth Sense, and it's like, no, that twist is like a reveal at the end of the film. Like, this is more like how the rest of the film plays out. But yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun while also being a very serious subject matter involved in the film. Like, I definitely laughed a lot in places where I wasn't sure I should laugh as much as I should have been. But
yeah,
I had a great time watching this one. I thought it was great. So, do you want to just get into the twist or the?
let's do it. Yeah,
Let's do it. Yeah. So, I guess before that, I'll say, like, there are certain aspects to Robert Pattinson's character Charlie where you think he should maybe stand up for his fiance more than he has, and he shouldn't take certain steps that he does in the film. Like, he should stand up to his friends. He's kind of a little bit pathetic, but he's also someone that lives in 2025, 2026, where the first scene of the film, he essentially lies about reading a book that Zendaya's character is reading because you can Google a book on your phone and get information on it. It was sort of a funny commentary on the way things are now, including about the secrets that they tell. So, yeah, we should just, at this point, just jump into that. If we just want to give a spoiler warning here at this point, spoilers. Yeah. Go see the drama. We both liked it. Come back to this part when you've seen it. Okay, so the way I would describe this film, it's like a modern mindset of parasitic thoughts and what they can do to a culture. So what we learned about Zendaya's character was that when she was a teenager, she planned on doing a school shooting, and she ultimately didn't go through with it. But it's like, what would happen if you learn something before you're about to marry someone, which is a really big step in someone's life? Like, what do you do if you really don't know your partner? And that's just really what the film is all about.
No, I mean, yeah, you said it. Like, it just creates like such an interesting dynamic, and like, I even just watching it, like I was just always like going back and forth between like, maybe he's being a little too harsh, like, but like at the same, like it's so weird. Like, that situation is just so like, I don't know what you would do in that. Like, there's so much stress about like, I've already spent so much on the wedding. Like, all my family's gonna be there. All that's gonna happen, and it's not like you fell out of love with the partner. You just learned something that's like, oh, that's pretty traumatic. But it's so good, like how they play it off in their performances.
Yeah, like the scene that takes place is that they're doing food tasting or wine tasting at a place for the wedding with their friends, Mike and Rachel. And Rachel's played by Alana Haim. And she says that something that they did before their wedding, as they told each other their deepest, darkest secret. And her secret involved like a boy that she knew was very slow, which later in the film Robert Pattinson refers to him as being mentally challenged. Like you said, he was slow, which is a very funny bit. Like she locked him in a room, and then a search party had to go out and try and find him, even though she knew where he was. But she never told anyone that she locked him in there. And it's kind of like a, Jesus Christ, that's a pretty dark thing to do. But they're at a thing where they're all having fun together and they all laugh. Robert Pattinson says that he cyberbullied someone so bad that his family had to move. But then he also says he's not totally sure if that was the reason that they moved. So like he's trying to provide an excuse for it. And then Zendaya tells a story about how she had planned to do a school shooting, but did not go through with it because Alana Haim's character has a cousin who was shot. She takes offense to it. So if no one at the party had taken offense to this story, it probably wouldn't have even been a thing that would become such a drama to the characters in the film. And it's because there's someone that takes conflict with it, which is why the story goes out of control. And Robert Pattinson's character starts having all these second thoughts about marrying the woman that he loves. And as we saw in the trailer, there's a scene that follows it where they're getting their photos taken, where the photographer starts saying like, so we'll shoot you, we'll shoot your parents, we'll shoot your grandparents, like talking about taking photos. Like that just got such a laugh from me. But
yeah, me too.
Yeah. But I think an important part of the film is that it never jokes about school shootings. It never presents that as being a funny thing, which I think is where some people have taken too harsh of a stance against it. But because Zendaya's character doesn't go ahead with it, she chooses not to, she throws away the gun, she becomes an anti-shooting advocate and things like that. So it kind of shows that she changed and became a better person. But again, because one person in their group took offense, that's why it's a different way that it's handled in that group. And when it ended, like, I mean, I think the editing in this was maybe the thing I love most about this film, is probably the thing I love most. But it also just had a really funny script. And I mean, the dialogue is quite funny, but they had a good cast to handle it. When Charlie, Robert Pattinson, is trying to deal with this, like he talks to his coworker about what she would do in a similar situation, and it ends up with him, he kisses her, and he's maybe about to sleep with her, and then he doesn't. But then now that there's an awkward thing in the relationship that actually has happened, like if you want to look at it from those perspectives of Zendaya did not shoot anybody, Robert Pattinson did not start to cheat on his partner, but stopped himself, it creates an interesting conversation, and their wedding is an absolute disaster, where the film leaves us with these guys like now having gone through this traumatic experience, and they are starting again, starting fresh. Like I thought it was a really nice ending, and it felt like something more out of something like a rom-com, but I just thought it was just very sweet given the circumstances of the film.
Yeah.
And if you want, you could say it's got the same ending as Spider-Man 3.
You're not wrong.
No, so any other thoughts on the drama?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's just very, very good film. I think that's going to still wind up on my list of favorites of the year by the time this year ends. All right, Chris, tell me about the Hugh Jackman Sheep movie.
The Sheep Detectives. This is a movie that just came out of nowhere for me. Like I had no intentions on seeing it. I knew nothing about it. And everyone that I talked to that had seen it, like, really highly recommended it to me. So I was like, okay, fine. And it's delightful. It's just a little kitty, like, whodunit story about, like, these sheeps that solve a murder mystery. Like, it's... I don't know how much we can say without spoiling anything, or, like...
Go for it.
Okay. Spoilers, I guess, if you haven't seen The Sheep Detectives. But Hugh Jackman, he plays like the shepherd of like all the sheep, and he loves the sheep. I think it's established in the movie he's a vegetarian. He doesn't like killing a sheep or anything. And one day he's dead in front of his trailer, and like it's and so like the sheep and it's so crazy. Okay, so the sheep like he reads them. He reads to his sheep because they're kind of like his kids in a way. He's kind of got that like parental relationship with them, and he mostly reads murder mysteries to them. And so like the lead sheep, I forget her name, but it's played by Elaine Bennis. Um, she she's kind of got like a really intuitive mind for murder mysteries. Like she normally like figures it all out before the book actually ends. So like she's kind of the lead detective, but most of the sheep don't want to deal with the trauma. They choose to forget whenever things go bad or sad. It's great. Like there's so much going on in it.
I
More
know,
than
and like the
thought
Bryan
would.
Cranston sheep when he's giving his backstory, it's very
Yeah,
sad. It's a very
it
sad
is.
backstory.
It's unbelievable. Like I just didn't think this movie would like just go where it does, but it does. It's fun, it's cute, and it's very sad and real at other parts. Like it's very surprising movie.
Yeah, and I don't know what else to add to that. You pretty much said it. Like it was a very good movie. I enjoyed it a great deal. Everything you said is true.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that everyone has reacted to it so positively. Like I was reading about people taking time out of their schedule at the Cannes Film Festival to see this. So it's a hell of a winner. So
Yeah. Yeah.
great movie. We highly recommend it.
Hmm.
All right. So I watched some horror movies recently. So I'll talk about this one real quick called Hokum. This is a horror film directed by Damien McCarthy. He's an Irish filmmaker, and the film is set in Ireland. But the star is Adam Scott. He's an author that's gone to a hotel in Ireland and that his parents used to go to, and he's essentially there to spread their ashes. But what the film essentially is that it's a haunted hotel film, and it's a legitimately very scary film. It's incredibly creepy. Like this is one of those where when it finished, I was like, that was perfectly done. That's exactly what a movie like that should be. I thought the cast were really good, and like the only cast member I knew was Adam Scott. Like the rest of the cast are Irish actors who I wasn't familiar with, but I thought everybody was really good. It deals with Irish folklore, and we don't go into this part of the hotel because it's haunted, but something mysterious happens, so they have to go into that spot. It's like an old school storytelling in that sense. But I just thought it was really tremendous, and definitely not something I want to talk too much about in terms of spoilers or describing much of the plot, because the way things are revealed is really well done. But it's one that I would recommend. Like I don't know if this was super easy for everybody to see, but because it was a little bit of a smaller release, but I thought it was a great film. And Adam Scott's performance, like his character is interesting. Like he's a writer, but he's kind of just an asshole. Like, and it's interesting to have a lead character that you don't really want to feel a lot of sympathy for at certain parts of the film as we're being like introduced to him. It was just a very super well done film. So I would recommend everybody to see it without trying to describe too much about it. Like just try to go in as blind as you can, because even the trailers don't tell you very much. Next up, I saw Backrooms. So you didn't see this one, right?
Not yet. Yeah.
So this was directed by Kane Parsons, who made a 9-minute short film. I think it was released in 2022 called The Backrooms.
I have seen that.
Yes, I did too. Then brackets found footage, and it's this found footage short of a guy who falls through a hole in the ground, I believe. And I watched it for the first time before seeing this film, and he just walks around all these very yellow lit rooms that don't appear to have any kind of structure to them, and he starts getting chased by some kind of creature. Like it's hard to explain what it looks like, but it's just this really interesting, very mysterious short about a guy walking around some rooms, and it's very well done. He then started adding to that, and it became a web series where a lot of the videos after that are like much shorter than around 10 minutes. But A24 came along and they had this film made, and it's neat to see a creative guy like this. Like he's 20 years old, and he directed a movie with Chiwetel Ejiofor and Renee Renzi. I don't know how you say your name, but it's a super interesting film. Like I'll say my negative straight off the bat. In the third act of the film, as some things start getting explained, I started thinking, I don't know if we've spent enough time on this because we get a couple of hints to things early in the film, and I don't feel like those had proper resolutions. And that's me kind of looking at it from, I guess, what I expect from a film like this. I'm gathering that a lot of people just loved living in the atmosphere of the film, and they don't want anything else explained. So it is a little bit of a choice in what you're looking for there, but I do agree in terms of atmosphere, it's really wonderful. I think the production design is fantastic, and I'm assuming that these are all sets. Like, I haven't looked too deeply into that, but all the sets and all the odd things of chairs just stuck together, or like a wheel just like hanging out of a wall, it all just looks so strange. Like at one point, one of the characters in the film says it looks like a house that was built by someone on acid. You know, it's like you try to get someone who's never seen a dog to draw a dog based on how you explain it, and it's not going to look exactly like how we know a dog looks like. So they reference that in the film, and that's kind of what these rooms all look like. You go, okay, those stairs just lead to nowhere. Like, there are doors that just don't lead to anything, and it's just room after room after room. And the way it's shot is really wonderful. Like, all these big wide angles and great silhouettes of people walking through places, and I love that aspect of the film a lot. It's creepy because just the subject matter is creepy, of just walking through rooms that you don't know, and you don't know where you're going, and you don't know what else might be in there. Like, it's an automatically creepy atmosphere. It seems like the internet has really been into this film, and I hope we get more stuff like this made, because I like seeing creativity in something as original as this be made by a studio like A24, and I was quite excited for this film, I won't lie. Like, I think when I didn't feel quite as fulfilled as I wanted to at the very end, it may have, again, like, a great movie that has a bad ending can often be viewed as a bad movie, even though a large portion of the film wasn't that way. So it did affect my viewing a little bit, but I'd still recommend people see it because I think it's a really visually interesting film, and I liked it a lot. All right. We're going to switch gears a little bit, talk about some TV. So The Boys just had its final season. All right, Chris, take it away. What'd you think of The Boys? Did it stick the landing?
Um, it did, but I think by a long shot, this is probably my least favorite season of the show.
Sure.
I think, and I don't know what I can really say that I haven't already heard, just from general reactions, but like one of the most distracting parts of this season for me is how much this show is trying to expand into like a I don't want to say cinematic universe because it's all TV, but like just its own, like, it's setting up the, I forget what it's called, but the like Vought Rising,
Right.
like Soldier Boy and all that stuff, and like his presence in the season, it just doesn't, it felt pretty forced to me, like just to have him there, and like his character just keeps going in circles, I felt like in that season, but and like that stuff, like that just doesn't interest me. Like when you go back to when Gen V came out, I saw the first season, I thought it was okay, and I just never thought about it since. I never watched season 2. You know, like my love for The Boys just kind of starts and ends with The Boys. Like that's kind of all I need. So
I'll be honest, I still have not seen Gen V.
yeah, like it's not terrible, but it doesn't have the spunk that I think like the main show has. But I mean, for what it's worth, it's like I did enjoy this season quite a bit. I think like after season 3, like I think, I don't know how to best put this. It's the I feel like the show just kind of started to run out of gas a little bit. It's like we're just kind of going in circles with a lot of the tropes that the show has set up, and I feel like
Yeah.
it lost some of the spunk it had in its early seasons of like just being a fun little commentary about, you know, big corporations and all of that. And I don't know, like it's fun, you know, I enjoyed it, and I thought the ending was pretty satisfying, but
I did too.
yeah,
I did think the
yeah,
ending, for what it's, by the time we did get to the ending, I thought that was a solid ending in my opinion.
yeah, yeah, me too.
And I've seen lots of people, certain people online, be like, that thought Homelander was just so pathetic by the end when spoilers, he loses his powers, and it's like that's the
That's
point
the
of the
point.
character.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just, and Anthony Starr, like, for what it's worth, he's so good as Homelander.
He is. He is. But I guess that's also like one of my things with the show is like I know his character is supposed to just regress like his personality, but I do miss the early days of the boys where like yeah, he was crazy, but like he was more than anything just a straight up dick.
Mm,
Like that was kind of and like as the show goes on, like he just kind of regresses into just being like just a complete psychopath.
yeah,
Um, and like it's fun, but like again, it's that to me is just like kind of the whole staple of the show. Is like I like the earlier stuff with a lot of these characters.
I did too. Yeah, you pretty much nailed it with this. I'm pretty much in the same boat as you.
Yeah,
Let's talk Daredevil Born Again Season 2. What did you think of this season?
I thought this season was very, very, very good. Um, I think now that we're past all the overhaul stuff with the show, this feels like a more true successor of the Netflix series. And I thought the season was very solid. It like just in every I don't even know where to go with all this. Um, I feel like we have that energy of Daredevil back that we had with the Netflix series. That like I didn't hate Born Again season one, but like it was clear just like how much more intrigued I was with like everything that came after the overhaul of the original version of the show. Um, and now that we kind of just have that front and center, and we're gonna get season three, it's like I feel like Daredevil's in a really good spot right now, and this season was very solid. There's a lot that happened in the last few episodes that like I don't know if we're gonna get into, but yeah, it was really really good.
Yeah, I mean, I really really liked this season. It felt like this time they had a much stronger grasp on the story that they wanted to tell as compared to the last season. Like
Mm.
that was as clear as day. Like I wondered if I went back and watched that first season again, if I'd be like, this feels messy compared to the second season. But I thought it was incredibly strong. But the final episode rather had some things that I felt could have used some explaining, like where I guess I'll say where the Kingpin ends up by the end of the season. Compared to what he did to people, like including that final episode, like blatantly murdering people before the eyes of everyone, and he
Yeah,
essentially gets to go on his way. Like I was like, okay, like there probably should be more that happens to that character. Like I know we've got another season coming with like the bearded Kingpin, but
right.
yeah, there were a couple of things where I was like, we probably could have handled that a little bit better, but I know everyone's excited for the third season. Like the defenders are all back and everything, but I thought that this was a very very strong season overall, and I just enjoyed the Charlie Cox portrayal of the character a lot, and I enjoy living in that world.
Hmm.
And I guess what followed the finale of Daredevil Born Again, which was the Punisher, One Last Kill. So they were promoting this essentially as connected to Daredevil, which it was
Yeah,
not.
not at all.
I I don't know what to say about this because I liked it. I thought it was well made.
It's technically fine. If what it's made for is like if you have no knowledge of who the Punisher is, like at all, comics and all, it's like this gets the job done, but like I don't know, it's like it doesn't really do all that much outside of that.
Yeah, because like when it comes up at the end that it was co-written by John Bernthal, I started thinking, yeah, it's like some of the things that he's talked about in interviews of what he likes about the character and his connections to the military or to police enforcers, and it's like, oh, well, Daredevil deals with why that's bad. Like
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
Kingpin's whole group of people have like the Punisher skull on them, and it's like that we know that they're the bad guys, and that's inspired by real life. And like
right,
there's tons of stuff with like Wilson Fisk in the season that I don't know if it's based off of Trump, but you can see the connections to like a powerful person who's clearly an evil man, and then you get to this Punisher special where I was like, I'm gathering that this is set after season 1 of Born Again, but there's no mention of anything to do with Daredevil. Like, there's no connection at all, it appears, to the Spider-Man film, which is kind of why I thought this would be something to view. Yeah, it was like it was a pilot, but they didn't have anything
But
else
it
to
doesn't
tell.
go anywhere.
Yeah, so like I'm confused at why it was made. Like, and I'm like,
Yeah.
why didn't you just make a film? Like, why did you make a 50-minute special? Because it
Yeah.
feels like you could have done more with this. Like, and Frank Castle has like a lot of visions of people, and he's ready to kill himself. He's like done being the Punisher, and then he gets inspired to be the Punisher again. And I'm like, we've told that story too many times now with John Bernthal's take on the character. Like,
Yeah.
I think I like him the most when he's a supporting character in a Daredevil show. That's
Yeah.
when he works the best. Like, when he's explained to Matt Murdock about why what he does is right and why Matt is not doing all that he can do. I really like that version of the character. So then when we see him on his own and he's like, I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm gonna shoot myself in the fucking head. I'm like, no, like, what is this? So yeah, I appreciate
Don't
it
get
because
confused.
what's that?
It's not a season finale.
No.
Do not get that confused.
No, so it's like I appreciate it because there's good action and it was well shot, but
Yeah.
at the end I was like, okay, that was random. Like, why did we make that? I mean, maybe I
Yeah.
shouldn't view media as that, but the MCU has taught me to do so. So
Yeah. I mean, there was a point in the special like where I was just checked out. Like I was just on my phone for like a good solid 10 minutes and like I didn't it was like when what's her face was just I don't even know what happened. Like she was like angry at Punisher or whatever. And she doesn't even show up again. Like I thought she was gonna be like the main villain of the
Right.
whole thing. But, like that's it. It was so weird.
yeah. Well, I mean, there's a great moment in the final episode of season 1 of Born Again where he shows up in Matt Murdock's apartment, and then all the like the ICE agents show up there, and they're ready to arrest Matt. And once they're done beating everybody up, Frank just like shoots one of them in the head, and Daredevil is like, "What are you doing?" And it's just like a
Yeah.
great clash between their two ideologies right there. So it just makes it more frustrating when he's again sitting at the grave sites of his family, and he's like, I can't do this anymore. And it's just a frustrating path that this character has taken. Like,
Yeah.
maybe I wouldn't feel so much that way if I hadn't watched the 2 seasons of the Netflix show where again he deals with this a lot. But yeah, if I'm just going off of the 2 Daredevil shows and then this, maybe it wouldn't be as jarring to me. Like, there's a
And I
moment.
guess that's why. Like, is this just made for people who didn't watch the Netflix Punisher show? Like, is that what this is?
Perhaps.
Like, I don't know.
Like, there's a moment I will say that I like. He has a vision of his wife, and she's wearing a particular outfit. And then later, he has a vision that Karen Page is there talking to him, and she's dressed exactly like how his wife was dressed in that vision. And I was like, oh, that's an interesting thing, because there's this constant tug of, like, did Karen also have this romantic thing about Frank, or does she not? And he, like, envisioned Karen dressed like his wife. And I was like, oh, that's something that's interesting. They don't do anything with it past that, but I thought that was an interesting point.
Yeah.
And again, that's just part of the frustration, is that there are decent parts to it. I mean, when I say it's well shot, it's the cinematographer is the guy that used to shoot all of Paul Thomas Anderson's films, Robert Elswit. So again, it's like, oh, this guy shot There Will Be Blood and Punch Drunk Love and Magnolia and Boogie Nights. And then you go, oh, he shot Nightcrawler and a couple of the Mission Impossible films. And it's like, again, it looks good and the action is good. But then there's that one shot that everybody was talking about where
Yeah.
the Punisher falls into like a big metal thing where we're told that the only CGI in the shot is them replacing the face of the stuntman with John Bernthal's. And yet, everything about the shot looks totally fake. Like, it
Yeah.
looks like a PS2 game. Like, it's so odd that this was put on Disney Plus. And since then, part of the marketing of it, like, Disney showed them shooting that shot behind the scenes. And it's like, yeah, look, you may have done this practically, but it looks bad. Like, that's even
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah, that doesn't change the reality of the shot. Like it still looks bad.
Yeah. I mean, there are good parts to the special, but it just kind of baffled me at why it was made. And then, yeah, there are these visual aspects to it that, or just the one really, because the rest of it I think looks pretty good. But anyway, just an odd thing that Disney released at a time where the Punisher is coming back to the big screen. There's no connection to that at all, and then he shows up at the end. Just talking spoilers here, but he shows up at the end with his new haircut and his freshly trimmed beard, and he doesn't look like the crazy Frank Castle that we saw in the rest of the special. And I was like, oh, okay, he went and got a haircut in the middle of all this, like a professionally done one. It just like, stuff like that was just odd to me.
Yeah,
Any other thoughts on this?
I don't think so.
I know you. We talked about this before we started recording, but you didn't watch the X-Men '97 trailer, did you?
I did not know.
I mean, do you have any thoughts on the season in general?
I mean, I'm excited. You know, I really love season one. It's just kind of like a thing I said earlier. It's just like I've kind of veered away from trailers just in general, unless like one like Clayface that like just really catches my eye. And especially with like stuff I'm excited about. It's like other than like what I've seen in theaters for like IMAX theaters for the Odyssey, it's like I haven't looked into anything about it just because I want to go in as blind as possible. And the same thing with X-Men. It's like that. It's season one was really great. I don't need to be sold by a trailer. It's just that I'll see season two and give my verdict.
I don't have a ton to say about this. Like, I think for so much of the first season, we, as in you and I, like we're looking at it as their tribute to the '90s show. The first season has that sentimentality to it, but now it's a regular show that Marvel will make every year, and I'm like, like I think when you guys were making the show, like I was viewing what you were going to be doing here, like a lot differently to what this has wound up being. So like any connection to the animated series that it has to me is now essentially out the window because they're just making an X-Men show now. So I definitely view this differently. Like, I'm certainly still excited to watch it. I'm hoping it'll be a good show, but it's just different now. Like I don't want to sound like I'm just being
it's a new writer, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's like I don't want to sound like I'm just being negative about this before it comes out because I think I was quite that way with the first season and then it wound up a show that I enjoyed. So, keeping an open mind, but in terms of having grand anticipation for it, I can't say I really have that this season.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You want to talk about Mando and Grok?
Yeah. I feel like I'm going to be saying some of your points about Michael and Punisher and just all of the above of what we talked about.
And for the record, I have not. I've taken a stand. I have not seen this
true
film.
to your word, and I'm impressed. Although I hate to burst your bubble, because have you seen any of the trailers for the movie?
I have, yes, and
okay, then you've seen the movie.
All right, cool. And I also watched I did watch Red Letter Media's review of it, and I was like,
okay,
why did you guys see this? Like, I mean, like the fact that they acknowledge that. Like a name like Dave Filoni, like that's people have said this online, like they should not know who Dave Filoni is, and I agree. Everyone just looked like they had a miserable time, especially Jay.
Yeah, that felt weird, like when he was mentioning him. But yeah. So we got a new Star Wars movie this year. I really don't have anything to say about this, and I don't even say that in a hyperbolic way. It's like this movie left my mind so quickly. I watched it. I thought it was fine. I guess like it's fun at parts. It's entertaining at parts. And then like it just left my brain, and I like that. Like I think because of that, it's one of my lower rated Star Wars movies. I have it above Rise of Skywalker, maybe like one or two of the prequels, and like that's just kind of it. Like it has like there's nothing interesting going on in this whatsoever. It is you go into it, it is exactly what you thought it was going to be. And the most interesting thing that like I thought about this movie is like how the past few years we've complained so much not just with Star Wars shows, but like with Disney Plus shows in general, how like they feel like 2 hour movies that are stretched to like 6 to 8 hours.
Right.
And there's like so much just filler space where it's like, like why is this getting so much attention? I don't care about this, like all that. And now they've done the opposite. They've taken an 8 episode season and shrunken that down to a 2 hour feature.
This is my problem with the movie, and why I ultimately didn't feel like watching this. Is just because I didn't see the justification for turning this TV show into a movie, when based on
Yeah.
the marketing and everything, it just looks like something you would put on Disney Plus anyways.
Like visually it looks no different, and even just the scale of the show, it feels no different than just another season of Mandalorian, which like, it is what, like, it's fine, I guess, like it, but there are like just the clear beginnings and endings of like, oh, I could see the episode. There's a point in the film where like Din Djarin goes unconscious for like, it feels like 20-30 minutes, and like that part of the movie really drags, and you just follow Grogu doing this like weird side quest where he's like stealing this fisherman's fish, and like that just felt like its own episode. Like it really just felt like that was just that was planned to be just an episode of the show. But yeah, it's, hold on, I got a message that popped up. That was weird. Anyways, yeah, I really don't have too much to say about it. Even the glub shittos in this movie, that like,
Oh, they were disappointing.
there weren't any surprise cameos. It's like everyone that was a glub shitto that you knew was going to be in this movie, that was it.
Huh.
Like Zed from Rebels. There's that one bounty hunter from Clone Wars. I forget his name. Obviously, you got Stinky the Hut. Which, I mean, that's another thing. It is just his voice, Jeremy Allen White. Like,
Oh wow.
they hardly do any tweaking with it whatsoever. It's just him talking. Like, for the most part, he's just speaking English. Like, he doesn't
Oh.
even have like a Hut accent or anything. Like, it's so weird. And like, there's a line in the movie, and I put it in my Letterboxd review just because it's like, that's the only thing that like stood out. He says something like, you know how hard it is to be your own man when your father is Jabba the Hutt, and I was like, what is happening? This is so weird. And so yeah, it's, I don't know what else to say. It's Star Wars is back on the big screen, I guess. Nobody cares.
And now next year we're getting the Sean Levy Star Wars film. Yay.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I guess for you, it's like Star Wars. You've kind of gone back to just the general audience of Star Wars. It's like you're only checking out anything that's like getting high reviews or like
Pretty
stuff
much.
you're just interested in based off the director or something like that. So like, yeah, this, it is what it is. I really don't have anything to say about it. Like, there's nothing inherently bad, but there is just nothing to praise about this. Like, I think the reality we live in, where we have, a small, very small budget horror movie, which we'll talk about, like, giving straight belt to ass financially to a brand new Star Wars movie. You told me that 10 years ago. It's like that. It's crazy, the reality we live in.
And yet here we are, and that's a good segue to the main event. Main event time. We're talking Obsession. Where do you want to start with this?
I have to confess that I'm a little bummed out.
Okay.
Because when I logged this on Letterboxd, I saw technically this came out last year.
It did, yes.
So this would have been probably my favorite movie of the year so far.
You could
had that not been the case.
Look, here's the thing. With Letterboxd, you're allowed to do whatever the fuck you want to do. Like, I place
know, I
these
know.
arbitrary rules for myself, where that movie would hypothetically be my top 20 my favorites of 2025, but it's not going to be my 2026 because it got released in a festival last year.
Yeah. But no, it's really, really, really solid. I could just talk endlessly about like just the amount of like care and detail put into like every frame of this movie. like just everything from like the costuming and the props and the set deck and just everything all around. And like I have to keep reminding myself, oh my god, they made this for $750,000.
Yeah.
Like this, it's crazy that like this and Project Hail Mary are probably like the two best looking movies I've seen this year so far.
Yeah.
And like, what is the variance in that? Like, just like how you have like this massive like sci-fi movie, and then this, by every stretch of the word, an indie horror film, and like I'm bringing those two up in the same conversation. And like the crazy thing is like all that stuff to me, like that's not even the highlight of the movie. Like the highlight is definitely the performances, particularly the main girl, Nikki. Like she is phenomenal in this.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's a tremendous film. Like this is another one that's been the talk of the internet, and it seems like this has gotten such a massively, overwhelmingly positive reception. And like in a similar way to what I was talking about with Backrooms, Curry Barker is also someone in their 20s who has made this film that people have really connected to, which is really nice. But the other thing is that we likely have a new big star that comes out of this. Indeed, Navarrete. I don't know how you say her name, but I hadn't seen her or anything before, but she's really excellent in this. Like I think that's one of the main takeaways of the film, is that I hope that we see someone that's going to become a big star moving forward. But in saying that, I thought like Michael Johnston, Bear, I thought he was fantastic too. Like, there's just a really wonderful awkwardness that he plays, where we know that he's done the wrong thing. Like he makes the one wish, as we know in the marketing. Like he makes the one wish that this girl Nikki will be in love with him, but the manner that he phrases it and the way that it's done, like obviously it's not the way that this should go down, and we feel bad for him at times because of the situation that he's put in. But then we get reminders that he has manipulated this woman's life to be this artificial thing to fulfill his happiness, but it's not even fulfilling his happiness. Like so he's just ruined this woman's life and his own. But then when he might have an opportunity to fix it, he doesn't, because he loses the thing that he wants, and then you're reminded of what a terrible decision this guy has made. So again, when we follow our lead character who is an asshole, like it's a fascinating subject matter. Like we used to see it a lot back in the day. It's like in 70s films, like so many lead characters, like you look at The Godfather or Taxi Driver and all these films. Like I think it's largely kind of gone away, and then it was television in the 2000s with Mad Men or Breaking Bad or Dexter. Like all these shows where the lead character was not a totally innocent person. So it came back here, and now we've got these horror films where it's becoming more of a thing again. Like maybe this has been a thing in modern horror films for a while, and I've missed it. But I just noticed with like two of the things we've been talking about, like that's the case.
Yeah.
And like there's an argument that could be made early on of like when he makes this wish, like does he even think it's a real thing that's actually going to work? And again, like the further we get into the film, because I was wondering like why doesn't he just get another one and make another wish? But we learned that that's not how that works. So
yeah, you only get one.
Yeah. So yeah, he has an opportunity to end this, and he just doesn't. So I thought this was a super engaging, super creepy, super well-made film. Just great performances, and I'm very glad that this is connected with a lot of people, and especially young people. Like, there's a lesson to be learned from the film, but yeah, it's just nice to see a film that like this connect with people.
Yeah. And you meant like it is very creepy and unsettling, and like that's why this has stuck with me in a way that a lot of horror movies, even ones I like lately, like they just haven't. Where it's just the little things that like it really creeps you out, and it's also just the reality of the situation. Like I know this is, hyper fictionalized, but like these scenarios, they're not out of the ordinary. It's like there are people that can be this obsessive, and like that haunting reality. It's like that's what just kind of really gets to you. Like it's really well done.
Yeah, and I guess you want to get into spoilers for this?
Yeah, sure.
All right, so I've seen people say that this is sort of like a commentary on AI and like how like you're trying to craft an ideal version of something, but it doesn't go that way because it's not based on any real experience that you yourself have had. So I guess
Hmm.
like a scene, like, and it's totally not clear if this is something that really happens or not. It might be a subconscious sort of like talking to him, but he hears what we believe is the real Nikki talking to him at one point, where she says, "Please kill me." Like that's not even really me. You're putting me through this, and he makes the decision not to because then he loses the girl that he's pushed for, and the exact ending of the film. It's unclear when the real Nikki comes back to us, if that really was her voice that we heard, or if there's a part of him that's trying to apply some logic to the situation, because things happen like she feeds him his dead cat and things like that. Like
Hmm.
that stuff is obviously creepy, and that's where you feel bad for him because he's now in this awful situation, and the fact that he chooses to kill himself at the end and it leaves the real Nikki in this terrible situation surrounded by dead bodies, including someone that she did in fact kill under the wish, persona. It's like,
Hmm.
well, now her life is almost even worse. Like
Yeah.
now she has to live with what would happen to someone when they're found with all these dead bodies, and
Yeah.
we are just constantly seeing the character have an opportunity to better themselves. And at the beginning, like when we see him trying to come up with wording that he would use to tell Nikki that he's in love with her and so forth, and his friend is telling him like these are the wrong choices of words, and we learn later that this friend was hooking up with Nikki, and so there are layers to people, and he doesn't know enough about it. And it's like it's one thing to have like a sexual attraction to someone that's in your life constantly, but you don't know anything about them beyond when you're with them. It's like a lesson to be
Hmm.
learned about falling in love with someone that you're just really enamored by, as opposed to having like true feelings or any kind of sense of what they are as like a person. And at the same time, I knew straight away we presented with this other friend Sarah, who does comfort Bear when we learned that his cat has died, and straight away I was like, oh, okay, this friend has feelings for him, and it becomes even clearer the more we watch the film. But there is someone there that has an attraction to him that he totally cuts off because of how he feels about Nikki. But then when Nikki has become too much for him, he does want to sit in the car with Sarah and talk to her and spend this personal time with her. And it's what ends up costing Sarah her life. It's a very interesting look at how I guess a new generation of people look up information online and deal with situations like this. Like I imagine we'll get more of this in the future, but this will be a good film to remember in terms of utilizing an AI tool to try and help you deal with being in a relationship with someone, or like what the effects of a drug are. Like you
Hmm.
could just Google that and find out that information, but it's interesting to see a film deal with that now as this stuff is starting to take over even more.
I just never even thought about that. I never even heard that as like a commentary of the movie, but no, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I said, it's nice to see that this film is connected with people when it deals with real life, like current issues, and just the way that. I mean, I spoke about this a little bit with the drama as well. At the beginning of that film, Robert Pattinson's character Googles the book that Zendaya's reading, and he pretends that he's read it because he looked up a little bit of information for it right beforehand on his phone. Like we live in this age now where we can start conversations with people in this way because we look up information with the device in our hands, and that continues to grow and grow. And the AI aspect is very interesting because I found that a little bit with Backrooms as well, in terms of you're trying to create a house from memory. Like you ask AI to create an image and it's not going to be exactly right. We find things wrong with AI all the time, but sometimes it looks really good. So yeah, like I hope we're entering this age of, or it would be interesting to enter this age where filmmakers start criticizing AI as not a real topic, as several filmmakers, like people whose movies that I've liked, have started to praise it a lot, which is a scary thing. Like Gareth Edwards loves AI. I mean, who fucking cares? But I mean,
Yeah.
it's weird hearing all these actors and filmmakers talk about, this is a great tool for us to use. It's like, oh yeah, let's get rid of our creativity. Sounds great.
Yeah.
All right. Any other thoughts on Obsession?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, I guess that'll about do it. Chris, where can people find you online?
You can find me over on Letterboxd and Instagram.
Yes, and I am there as well. I'm also on Blue Sky, and I'm also the editor of the Amazing Spider Talk podcast. So, yeah, look for that on wherever you get your podcasts. So that'll about do it. We'll see you all next time. Take care. Goodbye.